everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is my home gym. Hopefully, the angle that I chose is going to be good enough and the best I can do with the quality of laptop that I have to get a yoga class in for y'all. So, hopefully, you enjoy what would be the next maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And we're going to try and make sure we use things that are typical for any home. So you could be able to find basically all we'll probably need is a towel. So make sure you get that. If you need to pause this and go ahead and get a regular like beach or bath towel that works. And hopefully we'll just have a good little session of yoga while both of us are stuck at home. Pardon my clothes I'm in. I just came from my workout, so I like to do some mobility and stretching after I work out too, so this just kind of worked out for me to get this done and get y'all a good yoga session. So we'll work this out together, and feel free to pause or replay anything you need to for extra instruction if you didn't quite hear what I said, or if you just kind of need to repeat that. So I'm going to move back, and hopefully we'll get a good day in, and hopefully you're having a good time at home. All right, let's get this started. So usually we start my class with a little bit of mitra work, and since not all of you have mitras at home, there's really no point in me having that done for y'all. So we're just going to use a plain old towel. So folding 101, I know y'all love that in my class. You're going to take the towel, make sure it's folded in half longwise. And then what we're going to do from here is just fold it like we're going to fold in thirds. So you just fold it that 1/3 of the way. So now it looks like this, right? And so from there, we're going to roll it up. You don't have to fold it anymore. So that way it's long enough to mimic the size of a mitra. And it also is long enough you want it to support your head, neck, and shoulders. So it should put it behind you, look like that. So if you need to pause this again, go back and remember to fold it like you're going to fold it in thirds, but you only fold it once and then roll it up. Otherwise, just kind of wing it, whatever works for you. So we're going to see how we do right now. So we're going to lay that on the floor and use it just like we would a regular mitra, bringing this bottom part to that center of the chest, all the way to the back. And good, you can see that it's not going to be as effective, but you know what? It is going to work for us, right? So we're going to just lay here, slowly releasing the breath. Nice slow inhales and exhales. Kind of just rinsing out the body. Finding, again, as I always like to call it, that buffer between normal, what we're doing, work, whatever else we're doing around the house, and into yoga mode. So now we're on our mat, nothing else, even though we're at home, and we can easily be distracted. Nothing else matters outside this mat for at least a little bit, maybe the next 40 minutes or so. All right, just releasing, relaxing, slowly working with that breath. If this is still not bulky enough for you, if you need a little bit more support under there, I want you to go ahead and you can get a blanket and see if that works for you. Maybe it'll make it a little bit more substantial. And then slowly start to make those inhales and exhales even with each other. It's kind of different with no music, but I encourage you at home to turn on your own music. I didn't want to put music in fear of that, just in case. A lot of times if you have copyrighted music, obviously most is, that I would use from my Spotify playlist. They take those videos off of YouTube, so I didn't want to have that be a potential problem. So just, if you need music, go ahead and put some on. And just breathe. Any position, your legs don't have to be bent. This is where we're going to end up. All right, let's start a little bit of arm movement. So now we are going to bend our knees, feet flat to the floor. You're going to gently press those feet into the floor and let that back kind of just release and relax. We're going to take our arms, reach them overhead. Hook those thumbs together, bend the elbows slightly, and then exhale, bringing those arms in line with the ears, letting those elbows open up our chest, and just working with the breath right here. Still working with those feet gently pressed into the floor. As you can see right now, I'm over-exaggerating those ribs reaching up towards the ceiling. But we want to make sure those are neutral so the feet pressure helps to release that. Also, if you hear barking, don't mind my dogs. I think someone just drove into our driveway, so we're going to hold right here. Letting those shoulder blades work in towards the towel. And slowly release those thumbs. And we're going to open those arms up. We're going to do 2 rounds of this. So this is the first round. Just open up. Again, you want to be able, you can't really see from the camera, but you want the arms and hands to go ahead and be resting to the floor. And if you've taken the classes before, you've done this before, you're spot on and ready to go. If this is brand new to you, back of the wrists, elbows, back of the arms, resting all the way to the ground. So it's a nice open position. We're getting our chest open. Again, kind of feel those ribs. This isn't exaggerated, but press into the feet, finding a little bit more neutrality in there. Just a few more breaths. And then slowly circle those arms down long beside the body the way you need to. Breathing here. Feeling the shoulders release from the work we just did. And we're going to repeat that. So we're going to take that one more time. Arms are going to reach up towards the ceiling. This time it's the left thumb over the right. Little bend in those elbows. So we have a nice little kind of diamond shape there from elbow to elbow. And then as you exhale, arms are going to come over the head. Upper arms in line with those ears. And we're going to breathe right here. All right, then again, we're going to open those arms up. Release here and breathe. So continue holding here. I'll prompt you to go ahead and get up. I'm going to go ahead and get up. and still verbally guide you through this. I check the time. It's normally in class, that's what I'll do. I would check how much time we've been through. All right, so just continuing to breathe, letting the chest open up. We're in this position here, or yours may look like this, yours may look like this. Just kind of get a feel for what's going to work for you or what is working for you. And then, of course, breathing into that. All right, so we're going to slowly to come out. You're going to roll to raising one arm. Well, slowly slide those arms back down. Now we raise one arm. We're going to roll to that side, making sure our arm catches our head. We're going to push ourselves up. Let me come back to the mat. We're going to set the towel aside. We might use it later if we need a strap or something to kind of reach our toes, reach our hands closer to our toes. So you don't have to let it go too far, but just move it out of the way. And hopefully you can see pretty much everything I'm doing here. So we're going to start by coming into a seated cross-leg position. We're just going to warm up with a few twists. So you're going to take that left arm over to the right knee. Right hand's going to come beside you for some support. I'm not going to mirror you, so you're going to be turning the opposite direction I am, and then slowly twist over to the right, letting the shoulders relax. Crown of the head is tall. You can look over that right shoulder if you like. You can look over the left, or you can just keep it nice and neutral, but for now we're just getting into a nice easy twist. Slowly release. We're going to take the other side now. So now that right hand to the left knee, nice and long. Left hand behind you for some support. Straighten out the spine first, and then exhale, twist. Again, you can take your gaze wherever works best for you. And then slowly releasing. We're going to take a few rounds of cat-cow. So coming on to those hands and knees, you want those wrists right under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're in that tabletop position. Elbows you can turn kind of slightly out. You can't really see mine from here, but that way you just have a little movement and direction there. We're going to inhale, drop the belly. So we're opening the belly up, hips kind of come up, chest comes forward and opening the front of the neck, looking forward. And then on the exhale into that cat, we're going to press into the hands, letting that round our back and separating those shoulder blades. So that's the exhale, belly towards the spine. Inhale, coming back, bringing that air into those lungs, opening the front of the ribs, and then exhale back to that cat position, rounded back. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Let's take one more of those. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to a neutral position. We're going to come into that half downward dog. We're going to take the knees can stay where they are. We're going to take our hands, reach them as far forward as we can, or as gives us still a little bit of strength. We're going to press into the hands and shift the hips up and back like we're coming into a regular downward dog. So here we want to lengthen that spine. The head can come either in between the hands or forehead to the floor. And we're still, of course, breathing here, just lengthening out. If you feel you can, stretch a little bit more. Feeling that space right in here where those shoulders are, right in here where that joint is with those lats. Nice big stretches, working on those upper arm muscles. And then inhale, slowly come back. We're going to walk this right hand a little bit forward, and we're going to come into a little bit of a shoulder stretch here. So turning that left palm up. That forearm is showing towards our chest. You want the elbow right underneath the shoulder, and then we're going to slide that right arm all the way through and then come to resting on our side of our head, our left side, and our left shoulder. And we're going to breathe right here. Just a nice, easy twist. You don't want, you see how that left hip would hike up. You want it nice and neutral, and making sure your hips are square to the floor. So we're getting the twist in the chest. All right, pressing into that right hand, coming up. Inhale, we're going to switch sides. So now we re-extend that left arm, bending the right. Now you can see the other side of what this looks like. You're going to bring the shoulder and the elbow right in alignment, turning the palm up, and then we slide that left arm all the way through, resting onto the left shoulder and the left side of the head. Still in this position, I'm just going to show a little bit of differences because I'm turning the other way, and this way, hopefully you can hear me better facing this way. This top arm, of course, you can move it in as needed to support you. And again, we want to make sure those hips are square to the floor. We're not hiking one way or the other, but we're still in that position. That shoulder stretch kind of twisted. And then again, to come out, press into that left hand. Now we're coming out. Right hand reaches forward. We're going to come into that first downward dog. So our arms are still extended out. Curl the toes under. Lift those knees off the floor. We're going to slowly start to push into the hands to shift those hips up and back. Our knees are still bent. Then once we're there, we're going to slightly start to extend those heels to the floor into that first dog. And let's get a little stretch here. So we're going to bend that right knee and really stretch out that left heel. And we're going to switch sides. Bend the left knee now, stretch out the right heel. If you're doing the opposite side, don't worry about it as long as you do both sides. And then coming back into that downward dog, extending that spine. And then we're going to walk those feet forward, coming into a forward fold towards the top of our mat. This is our first forward fold. We're still in the fold. I'm just coming up to demo a little bit better. We want to make sure those knees are bent, so we're getting, again, into those hip creases and not bending at the waist. So this would be bending at the waist. We want to bend the knees and get into the hips, extending the spine. It's just better for our back and for our spines. Then we're going to inhale slowly, press into the feet. Now we round the back, rolling it up, arms reach. Exhale, hands to the chest. Take a breath here. Let's do 2 more times, just the arms, legs are still hip width apart. Inhale, circle down, reach it up. Exhale, hands to the chest. 1 more round, inhale down, reach them up. Exhale, hands come to the chest. All right, starting a little bit of a flow. Inhale, circle down, arms reach up. Exhale, we're going to fold all the way down, bringing our hands to the mat. Step that left foot back, bring the knees to the floor. We're going to come up and we're going to do a nice low lunge here. So walk that right foot forward as much as you need to so we get into that low lunge. Chest stays up, hips come down and forward. So we get really into this left front of the thigh, front of the hip, and we're going to reach those arms and breathe right here. Again, if you can't get those arms reached, if that's a little too off balance, we're going to bring our hands to our thigh and just work here. The main point is we want to get into that front of the thigh muscle. And breathing right here. Nice. All right, slowly coming out. Coming up. Bringing the hands down. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. So now that left foot comes forward, we're going to come up. And slowly start to bring those hips down and forward. And reach those arms. Breathing here. Hold and breathe. Stay here and breathe. I'm going to come out because my laptop went to a screensaver, so I'm hoping it's still recording. And it looks like it is. So we're still on this left side into that low lunge. And we're right here, so kind of just feel out your lunge. Make sure your ankle and knee are in alignment and we're not one over the other, meaning the knee over the ankle. All right, we're going to come out. Hands come down. Take that left knee back. Toes curl under. Hips come up. Press into the hands. And then slowly find your version of downward dog right now. Breathe in here. Nice. From here, we're going to get into the front of the hips. We're going to slowly come forward with our shoulders over our wrists. Knees come down. Elbows all the way to the floor. And we're going to take a few rounds of cobra poses. So we're going to start with those baby cobras. Legs can be hip width apart. You see how my legs are? Or you can bring them close together. It kind of just depends on what you feel right now. But we're going to rest them to the floor. Elbows stay tucked in at the upper chest. We're going to inhale, slowly lift our head and chest, just the head and chest. Exhale, forehead comes to the floor. 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Extending the front of the body. Exhale, coming down. 1 last time. Inhale, lift. Shoulder blades are down and back. Exhale, fold. All right. Coming into that full cobra. In, or you can stick with that baby version. Up to you. Inhale, lift. Exhale, press into the hands. Now we come all the way up. If you feel you're right here, I want you to bring those shoulder blades back and down. There's a little bit of bend in the elbows in this pose. Relax the glutes so we don't want to tense up too much. A little bit of relaxation there. Tense a little bit through the belly so we're not really pushing into that lower back. And then from here, we're going to bend the knees, curl the toes under, lift the knees, press into the hands, and we're back in that downward facing dog. From here, we're going to walk those feet forward. If you need to meet the hands back to the feet, we're in that forward fold again. And from here, we're just going to come straight into a high lunge. So a higher version of that lunge we just took. So we're just going to step our left foot back. We'll start on this right side as the front leg. Press through that front leg. Really use the glutes and the thighs coming all the way up. Arms reach. This back knee can bend if it needs to. The back foot can even come all the way to the floor if we need it to get that balance. But we want to bring those ribs and hips in alignment. And again, if reaching up is too much for you, relax the arms, bring them to the sides of the body, press into the thigh, whatever's going to work for you. From here, slowly release. We're going to come down, hands to our mat. We're going to take the easy way to switch sides. So left foot's just going to step forward. Right foot's going to step back. We go again on the other side. So we're going to bend that front knee. Again, find your footing. If you need to, bring the foot up. Don't angle it too much like we would a traditional warrior pose. I want to try to keep those hips nice and straight. And then we're going to slowly press into that front leg. Come up, bend that back knee if you need to. So you can see right here, we want to get the lower ribs and the upper hips in alignment. We don't want to be too forward like this. We want to, again, find that nice core strength in this pose so we get a nice long stretch right in here. Breathing here. Find that breath. Woo. Reach up to the sky. I know these are some nice sweaters, meaning they're heat building poses. We're going to sweat here. All right, and then now we're going to slowly come down. Take your time. Hands to the mat. Step it back to downward dog. Plant those hands. Shoulder blades toward one another. Breathe here. Nice. From here, again, we're going to walk those feet forward till we find our fold. Inhale, roll it up. Arms reach overhead. Exhale, hands to the chest. All right, we're going to get a little bit of side fold in here because I want to get, or a wide angle standing forward fold. I don't think I ever know what a side fold is. So we can get a little bit on the outer legs because what I want to get into is a few pigeon poses later. So we're going to take our foot, whichever one, if we're at the top, whichever one works for you so you can face the camera to see what we're doing. So for me, I'm taking my right leg over to the side. We're in that wide leg position. So the feet, you don't, as you can see, you don't want to angle the toes out. You don't want to angle to where the heels are out and we're kind of pigeon-toed. You want it to where the toes and the foot are in the same line so we can get a nice, good grip, meaning pressing on the outside of the feet. So this is me pressing on the inside. You can see what my knees are doing? And now I'm pressing on the outside of my feet. They're rotating out to make sure I get out of the inside of those knees and I'm not doing any damage to those muscles and ligaments in there. All right, so now that we got that footing, we're gonna go ahead and take a nice fold here. So we're gonna inhale, arms are gonna reach up. Reach them nice and high. This is to get that spine nice and long. And then if you need to, we're gonna soften those knees and we're gonna fold all the way down and get into that forward fold. I'm looking up so I can face the camera a little bit. But what we want to do is just breathe right here. Again, bend the knees as much as you need to. And if it's more comfortable, you're going to reach for the ankles and pull into your fold. Keep in your fold. I'm going to come out. Check that time. We're doing good. You're doing excellent. Keep in your fold. Keep breathing. Good thing is, if your breath is working, you're doing good. You are nowhere near being ill because that's one of the symptoms. So, all right. From here, we're going to come up slightly. You can even come up to your hands onto the thighs if that helps a little bit. Or you can, if you have access to blocks, you can use blocks, and I'll show you right now. Still stay in your wide stance. If not, you can use books. You can use things of Tupperware. Anything that mimics this, grab it and use it as a tool if you need it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to soften the knees. If you hadn't already, come up to hands to your thighs. So you can kind of watch this, or you can come up a little bit more. What we're going to do is we're going to come into kind of a side-to-side motion just to get into those inner thighs a little bit. So if you can reach your hands to the floor and do it this way, knees a little bent, take it there. If you need go-go gadget arms and you need a block, take your block. Or again, hands to the thighs works just as good. And we're going to get some nice big inner thigh stretches here. So we're going to bend that right knee and we're going to shift over to the right slightly. That right or left foot is going to stay exactly where it is with the outer edge of the foot pressing into the floor. So we get nice and big into those inner thighs. And then inhale, come back to center, and exhale, we're going to switch sides. So now that left knee bends, coming into the side. So your depth may look a little different if I'm going to do this next one with my hands or my elbows on my thighs. And we're going to switch. So now we start to straighten the leg and switch to the other side. Exhaling. Pressing on the outer edge of that foot. If your hands are on the floor, it's going to look like this. We're going to inhale, walk the hands to the middle. Exhale now to that left side, everyone. I think we've done both sides twice. We're going to do each side one more time. So inhale to center. Exhale the other side. If this is actually the fourth time, you know what? Even better for us. And one more time to the other side. Inhale to center. Exhale, bend that left knee. Here we are. All right, we're going to come back to that middle. One last fold. And now soften the knees, hands to thighs, inhale. We're going to come all the way up. We're going to heel toe those feet to the middle. All right, nice. And now we're ready for a few pigeon poses. So we're going to go ahead, face one side of our mat. It doesn't matter which side. I'm just automatically facing this way and using this as my top of the mat for some reason. All right, so we're going to come to that top of the mat. And we're going to transition into it instead of just coming right down. We're going to inhale, circle the arms up. Reach, keeping that mobility in those shoulders. Exhale, fold down. And slowly step back to downward dog first. Always transitioning through downward dog. But to get to that pigeon, we're going to bring the knees down. And we're going to bring that right knee forward, right next to that right hand or right arm. We're going to, here are where your options start. You can, for traditional, that first pigeon, you can send that left leg all the way back, making sure we're resting as much as we can on this right hip. If we find ourselves with too much or a lot of space, you can use a block. The purpose is to get those hips nice and neutral when we fold so we get the proper stretch that we want. Your other option, if you can't quite get with this back leg straight, is you can bend that back knee. And then you are going to kind of rest onto that side hip so you can still get a little bit of a stretch that way. Otherwise, I'm going to turn, keep in your position, just so you can see what the front of this looks like. For that kind of more modified progression, you want this heel as close to this hip as possible. So that right heel is close to that left hip. If you need a little bit more of a challenge, you can bring the heel away from the hip as long as you can still square those hips to the floor. And then all of us are going to go ahead and fold into our version of pigeon, whatever that is. So keep in your fold right here. Again, I'm going to go ahead and check the time for us. But breathe in that pigeon. We're on that right side. Getting a nice big deep stretch into our thighs. Lots of lessons learned from this first online class is have a separate timer to the side so I know that where we are in our class. But we're good to go. We're a little over halfway done. But we're still in our pigeon breathing, right? So it doesn't matter what this portion looks like, or any of it actually, as long as you're getting a stretch in the hips and the back of the thighs and in those areas, then you're good to go. So no matter if you're here on your forearms, if your arms are stretched and you're bringing your forehead to the floor, any of those are going to work. So we're just breathing in that pigeon. And again, as I say in class, this pose is a marathon, not a sprint. Sometimes things take longer to love, so we hold some poses more. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch sides, and we're going to transition through, of course, a downward dog. So we're going to bring our hands under the shoulders, press into the hands to lift ourselves up, curl the back to under, kind of if you need to bring that knee in to get a little more leverage. pushing on the hand, we're just gonna switch back. Woo, downward dog. Nice big stretch on that right leg, probably feels really good. And now we're gonna take the other side. So if you can, just bring that left knee forward. If you need to bring the right knee down first, go ahead. This side, now you're gonna get a different view of it. Right leg extends or right knee bends. Any of those work. If you're coming in that bend, you're just gonna rotate that chest and trunk forward and fold. If you're coming into that more traditional version of that first pigeon pose, because there's a few, but we're only doing this first one. Again, you can either bring that, you can kind of see it better here, that knee or that hip and heel close together for a little, that first progression of it. If you need a little bit more of a challenge, or feel a little bit more flexibility in your hips, you're gonna go ahead and take that foot away a little bit, and then you're gonna fold into your version of the fold. Breathing into your pigeon, we're still here. I know it can be at first a little funky to breathe into the floor with, for example, these poses or even child's poses, but I find it kind of comforting because it kind of feel like I'm in my own little world and I can get back to my breath and kind of reset myself for the rest of my practice or even for just like the next moment or the next pose. So finding in no matter what position that is, just breathing. All right, we're going to slowly come out, lift the head, hands underneath those shoulders, push yourself up. And from here, we're just going to come to the side, swing that leg around, and start to get into that cool down mode. Bringing those feet together. You can interlace the fingers, bring them under the feet, and stretch the spine up. Other option is holding on to the ankles or shins if you can't quite get your hands in that mobility in. This is where you're going to be. And we're going to breathe right here. Pressing the feet into one another, knees come out. You can close the eyes if that makes you more comfortable. This is a really good transition pose that I like to use pretty much in every class. All right, now we're slowly going to release. And we're going to take our legs and we're going to extend them out to the sides. So you're going to find a comfortable width. You can even bend the knees a little if you like, just to get a little bit further. We're going to end up coming into a fold, so it's another kind of wide leg fold position. This one we're kind of working a little more with gravity. So we're going to slowly inhale, arms are going to reach, get that spine nice and straight. And then exhale, slowly fold down. Walk the hands forward if you need to and come into the fold. So here, if you can see, like if my feet are rotating down, we don't want that action. We want to keep those toes up. So flexing the feet sometimes helps here. And it just helps with getting the stretch where we want it. So if we're rotating down, we're going to lose a little of that stretch on the inner thigh. If we rotate those so those toes are turning up, you kind of feel a little more exactly where we want to target our extension and flexibility and mobility here. So we're going to breathe right here. And again, your fold may look like this. Your fold may look like this. It really doesn't matter where the fold is as long as you're feeling that stretch. And keep breathing here. one thing I forgot to do was turn my phone off. But where it doesn't matter, we're in our stretch and we're breathing. This is all new to all of us. All right, we're slowly going to come out, bringing those legs in. Give them a little shake. We're going to transition to our backs, starting to cool down a little bit more. But what I want you to do, we've done a lot of kind of outward rotation or, the legs. So I want to get a little bit of inner rotation. So what we're going to do is we're going to heel toe those feet out. So you can kind of see I made them a little wider than the mat. And then we're going to bring our knees in towards one another. And we're going to hold and breathe right here. Just getting a little like inner rotation of the legs rather than outer rotation of the legs. Just always getting that balance in our bodies. While you're breathing here, I'm going to again go ahead and check that time just to see where we are, just to see how much of a cool down we are going to be into before getting into Shavasana. Nice. Good time, good time. So while you're here breathing, this is my home gym that I have used. I use it a lot actually, even though I go to another gym. So that's my rig in the background. I have a set of rings because I work on ring dips for stability in my core and my weights. I don't have my bars up there just because I used them earlier when I moved them out of the way, so I could reach the pull-up bar, which is up there. All right, we're going to come out of that pose. So separate the knees, heel toes the feet in. And we're going to hug that right knee into the chest. You can hold either at the shin or the back of the thigh, whichever makes it easier for your back to be nice and easy. And bring that leg in. And then we're going to extend the opposite leg. So the left leg all the way to the floor. And we're going to hold and breathe here. And the reason the room is blue is because my husband is a big Dallas Cowboys fan. As you can see, there's more jerseys up there, but you can see one of them in here. And so we used to be his kind of office before it became our home gym, and he wanted it Dallas Cowboy blue. So I just haven't painted it, and that's the reason too. All right, we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. So release that right foot down. Before extending it, you're going to hug the left knee into the chest, again at the knee or the thigh. And then we extend that right leg, lengthening it out. Just getting one last stretch into those hip flexors. Or one last pull, rather. Because although we do use our hip flexors a lot, very rarely throughout the day do we get this range of motion. It's usually maybe right here when we're seated. So we want to get a little further into that range of motion. So if you're wondering also what those flags in the back, a little more conversation. Obviously the U.S. flag, and then the Texas come and take it. But that one on the right-hand side is the Ireland national flag. So it's a place that we love to visit, and my husband's part of his heritage, so we hung it up. And we're going to go ahead and slowly release. Taking in that one last pose before we come to Shavasana. You know what that is if you've come to my class before. It's those twists from side to side. So those arms out at shoulder level, palms up. You're like a nice little T. We're going to bend those knees, bringing them flat, the feet flat to the floor. Make sure the hips and the shoulders are in one alignment, so you don't want them twisted already or out of whack. We want it one nice long spine. And then we're going to press into the feet, lift the hips. We're going to scoot them to the left, and then knees come to the right. And you want those shoulders to be stuck to the floor. We're going to breathe right here. And again, you can turn the head if you like, the opposite way from the knees, so this way it would be to that left direction just to get that added twist, but entirely up to you. You can look straight up to the ceiling. You want to make sure both shoulders are touching the floor, still in contact. So if you need to kind of lift one leg or move it back or readjust, take it there. Then we're going to bring our head back to center, and we're going to go to the other side. So bringing one leg up at a time, left and then right. Realign again those hips, and then press into the feet, lift the hips, scoot them now to the right, and knees over to the left. Here we are in our twist. And again, see those shoulders are flat to the floor, palms are facing up. You can't really see that here, but if I lifted, you'd see the back of my hand just like that. All right, we're going to bring our head to the middle first. One leg at a time, all right? And then left. We're going to adjust the hips. Again, you want that spine in nice alignment. Bring those arms down. You want them at a little bit away from the body. Extending the legs, hip width apart, and then let those legs relax out. Palms turn up, head looking towards the ceiling. Those shoulders underneath you, so we want to face the palms up. Slowly starting to close the eyes. You remain here in Shavasana. I'm going to come up, but you continue to get relaxed. I'm going to move a little closer. Closing the eyes. And just breathing here. Nice big inhale, slow inhales and slow the exhales. Breath is nice and easy. You can continue to stay here in Shavasana as long as you like. Or you can choose to start to breathe in a little deeper. Slowly making your way out of Shavasana again. If you're not ready, stay there as long as you like. We're going to wrap up the video, but I want you to stay if you need to. However, if you're coming up, we'll bring our hands together. Bowing your heads. Thank yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in, supporting our studio, and we hope this helps just a little. I'm sure I'll be making more videos, and Sandra will have all of our instructors there to help you out. So Stay safe and namaste. Thank you.